Does Gail King ever do anything that has nothing to do with black people? She just talked to Norman Lear and did this whole thing with the Jeffersons and Archie Bunker and all these things that had to do with the controversy over race. I don't think I've ever seen her on television with anything. She's there with Oprah. She's always defending somebody that has to do with race. I mean, they got her on the race card. But you know what? It's funny how we do. The reason I'm bringing it up, everybody's going to do a sequel to a comic book hit. One of the reasons why George Lucas is mad at the Star Wars is because they turned a spiritual journey into a comic book. That's what that was. May the Force be with you. The thing that happens in our society is we are imitators of life. We have life and then we imitate life. They have reality and then there's an imitation of reality. It's down a generation. You get to the point where you think that Larry David really does live that way. And I could tell you a lot of things that you probably don't know, taking you behind the scenes, but that's not going to make you real happy. It'll ruin your fantasy. The fantasy is what sells. That's the image, the imagination. That's part of the word. And it's great to know that. I mean, every year we watch television and we see It's a Wonderful Life. That movie with James Stewart that runs every Christmas time. They run that and The Christmas Story. They run these two films to death, and The Sound of Music. But the one that we're living with now is the Christmas Story retold with a black kid sticking his tongue to the pole. That's the scene everybody remembers. Is a kid that sticks his tongue out and it's frozen to the pole. That was written by Gene Shepard, who incidentally was at WOR, where I was privileged enough to work in that same place. Hey, you know what? The Wonderful Life is a story of Clarence, the angel, visiting and guiding Jimmy Stewart, and they're going to do a remake of it. They've got Donald Trump is playing the part that James Stewart played, except it's a little different. When it comes to the suicide scene, Clarence asks him to jump. It's got a little twist on the ending there. It's a little darker. I'm thinking of doing a podcast. I was going to do it for my daughter's place where she's growing medical marijuana. I was going to do a smoking podcast, and we should really have all these people who sit around, and it's like Congress. It's a head job. Now, my next thought is to take all of these people who are at press conferences and put the press conference on television with a laugh track. We're used to having laugh tracks. I think it'd be great to just watch. We're used to watching that on TV. People laugh at something that's not particularly funny, it's got a beat. When you watch those sitcoms, there's a couple of minutes and then there's a laugh track. There's a couple of jokes and a laugh track. It's got a rhythm to it. So maybe we can do that with the press conferences. And as far as that thing in North Korea is concerned, everybody knows that I have a tall men's shop in North Korea. And it's not very profitable. The thing that he has that we are really missing, didn't we fight them before? I thought we were done with Koreans. Didn't we do this? Yeah, the North Koreans, I mean. We had this war already, didn't we? Is this a rerun? Anyhow, this guy, he's an irritant. You look at him and you really want to bitch slap him. Speaking of that, that's how they're going to pay off all of these women with these sexual charges. They're going to use bitcoins. Have I said enough? It's a Reynolds Rap.